Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Bergwald, Director of Adult Discipleship and Evangelization with the Diocese of Sioux Falls.
And I'm Father John Rutten, priest of the Diocese of Sioux Falls.
And this is our 6th video on Robert Coleman's book, The Master Plan of Evangelism. And we're looking in this video at chapter 5, demonstration. So Father, to me this really flows well from the earlier chapter on association, but focusing particularly on how Jesus with the 12 modeled how he whether it was prayer or whether it was how he used Scripture, which is what Coleman focuses, a couple things that he focuses on. So taking the first with prayer, Jesus prayed and the apostles would see him in prayer. And then finally they ask him, Lord, will you teach us how to pray? And he teaches them the Our Father in one of the Gospels, I think. So that and other instances too that Coleman talks where Jesus models what it is that he asks of them, but then lets them ask him, well, how do we do that? So the idea of modeling. So if I'm somebody in the parish, again, whether priest, pastor, associate pastor, or religious or layperson who has been appointed by the authority above me, the person above me, to do this task, it's important that, again, earlier videos, I'm not just the sort of standoffish professor. I've got to share my life with them, and a big part of that, again, this chapter focusing on modeling it. What does it look like? And we talked about this too in an earlier video, living the Christian life. The messiness, the busyness of that. What does that look like? And modeling, particularly the spiritual disciplines of the Christian life. Again, whether it be prayer or reading the Bible or interacting with peers, insofar as we can, modeling that.
The clearest example I have of this, and as a priest, one of the most difficult things to talk to people about is contraception.
Yeah.
And yet, when I just preach about it, or I just say it, it doesn't do much. What is changing the hearts and minds of people are couples who are living it.
Right.
The church is teaching the great gift of human sexuality and the relationship between husband and wife and marriage and the openness to life and how that, it really provokes them. This is the heart of, I think, what we're saying is, we can talk about it all we want, but what people today need are witnesses that are fully living it. And I think, was it Paul VI that said, that the world today listens more to witnesses than to teachers.
Right,
and
right.
If it even listens to teachers, first because they're witnesses.
Right.
That's,
Exactly.
I think,
Yeah.
the heart of what we're getting at is this gift that people today want. I come from a business world, and we always would say, or people would say, be willing to do what you first are going to ask somebody else to do.
Right.
Not only do you learn in it, but it teaches just by you doing. And I actually think this is a point of freedom. Wow, you mean I don't have to know it all? If I just begin praying like I'm helping spread the gospel? You mean just showing up to Eucharistic adoration? I'm doing something? When I was in the seminary, I had a note on my door. I'm somebody that likes to learn. I'm trying to figure it all out. And I would have a note on my door that when I left that door, a reminder to myself that more important than anything I learned this day was if I lived close to him. And it was this peace and this freedom to say, you know what, Jesus, I need more than anything. I need you. I need you. Well, what I didn't realize is by living that way, you teach people have a need for him. That's more than, I think that's the heart of what we're getting at. We don't need priests today that are managers, and we don't need parents that are chauffeurs. Maybe in the midst of managing the office, you're also witnessing, or in the midst of chauffeuring, you're also witnessing. But again, it gets back to Paul VI.
It's got to be most, and with the parent, again, speaking as a parent myself, I remember once this show on TV and somebody making it like Super Nanny or something like this back in the day. But she made a group, don't just watch your kids play with your kids.
Yes.
And I think the same, and I use the word model, witness is really the better word. But it's the same thing. Again, sharing life with, being with, and then they'll see it.
And this is so different, I think, for us. This is really important in small group ministry because this is unusual. This is different. When I go to will I go to the basketball game of the high schoolers when I'm really not interested in basketball anymore and my kids aren't playing? Will I show up at the softball field, or will I go to the orchestra? You know, I went to the high school the other day because the basketball team was playing. Well, at the same time, the high school orchestra was playing. Am I open and free enough to Christ to go into the orchestra just as freely as I would go into the basketball game? Dependent on what I believe Christ is trying to do with me, or who is following me.
Yep.
It's a beautiful thing when we begin to do this, but it is different.
And living out, so it's to me living our faith, conscious of the fact that we are thereby witnessing to others.
Yes, yes.